need you to go back and check now. I'm not saying anything. I need you to go in so that you can check because there's somebody that's playing. There's been some signal messing with for the last few hours. Okay. All right. Tada. Tada, Kati. Tada. Tada. Special guest, Cop. Thank you all for giving your input. I appreciate it. Quality control is very important. As promised, once we made it to the top of the hill, I was going to recite our Fatiha. We are now going down the other side of the hill, so let's do that. Usubillahi mina shaitan regime. We seek the protection of our Father against shaitan, against the evil ways, as we walk the divine path. Basmillahi ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmani ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqima. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Khairil maghdubi alayhim. Walad Dolin. Ameen. In the name of our Father, the most merciful, the most compassionate, Lord over all worlds, creator of our divine path, the most merciful, the most compassionate. We ask you to forgive us when we disobey like others have done in the past. We ask you to teach us how to forgive others the way that you forgive us. We thank you for providing the deen, the divine path. I mean, today's party is called Temperature Fell. Fall is upon us. I'm looking out for the winter solstice. 30 days before the winter solstice, I should be looking for what the moon is doing. Shortly after the new moon, I'll be looking at fasting all the way up till winter solstice. It's another 20 days from here when that starts. Where I'm from, they say if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes, it'll change. We've been doing some studying, and I'm traveling right now because I want to track something down. It got misplaced. I want to see if I can find it. So we may put studies off until tomorrow. Today, according to regular schedule, this would be question and answer day anyway. It says, music reminds me of Close Encounters movie. Yeah, I was greatly influenced by that. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Music is a universal language. So yeah, we've been studying the patriarchs of Yahasharayah. Everybody settles on the number 12. However, there were 2 grandsons that were added on, so it can go anywhere from 12 to 14. We wanted to figure out what were the responsibilities, what do they do for their livelihoods? Because there's a lot of people incorrectly thinking if you have a certain phenotype, if your skull is shaped a certain way and you have certain facial features, or the hue of your skin looks a certain way, that gains you merit into the family Yahasharayah. That is not true. It has been so many years since any of those people who had those names with those stories attributed to them, it has been so long that if we followed the rules of judgment, they've already pretty much been judged. The only thing that we can't say that they have not actually been awakened and judged for is because whatever you do, unless you live in complete isolation, whatever you do does have an effect on another person, positive or not, anytime you interact with anybody in society. So, the only thing left to judge anyone from the time of Yahasharayah, before or even afterwards, along with the works that you actually do, are the things that happen from people interacting with you. Well, there's a family that has a history because it has a lineage that everyone wants to be a part of. In Farsi, that lineage is called the Injil. People who want to wave a Bible at you say the word gospel. Gospel is a Mycenaean term. It doesn't belong to Farsi, Persia. It doesn't belong to Kemet, Egypt. It does not belong to Yahasharayah, Hebrew, Israel. People are fighting all kinds of ways and all kinds of reasons. It ain't got nothing to do with upholding the standards of Yahweh Elohim. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises to our source of sustenance and mercy. So, my mission is make sure that I remind people of who Ashura is, what the day of Ashura is all about, and while we're digging around, might as well find out what all the other brothers in the family were up to. We've gotten pretty far, I'd say. Speaking of, we have gotten pretty far. We've made about 3/4 of the way to the destination. Just interested to see who's next in studies on deck. Because like I said, I believe it's Issachar. So I was reciting Surah Al-Fatiha earlier. You can go to Quran.com to see it in Farsi, written, and hear it spoken in Farsi, as well as see it in English. The studies we're doing with the patriarchs is in Bible Hub. So I'm going to check the link just to see how long the read is itself, because we've been going for about 24 minutes. It's about 20 minutes from the top of the hour. If it's a short read, I'll proceed on through, because it's been interesting last few days. And something tells me that we should be compelled to complete the studies, especially considering we're going to come back and do a more intense search. Let's go ahead and work our way through the subjects. Was a movie I watched when I was very young about evangelism. A movie called In God We Trust. It was a parody. It had Richard Pryor in it and a few other comedians. It hit some very serious subject matter. However, it was full of jokes. That's something that is missing nowadays. We have strange scripts for movies. Actors and celebrities telling you exact choices to make as far as theology and politics. Politicians just hiding behind lobbyists, and no one doing actual real guidance for communities. I've become an old man, because I remember when it wasn't like that. I was telling one of my brothers the other day, I remember you could walk into a room and out of 50 people, there'd be 3 knuckleheads. Now you walk into a room and there might be 3 people who can hold a conversation. So I went to trace back the link just now so I could figure out which one we're supposed to be studying. And yes, it is Issachar. We're about 2 blocks away from the destination, so we can at least begin the reading. We're hunting in one specific spot. Alright, so we found the testaments, but what we want is just the subject. I wanted to find out who was next in the lineup. That's one serious thing. Issachar. Revelation 7:7. Found one verse. We can do better than that. Topical encyclopedia. User error. I'm spelling it every way except for how it wants me to spell it. Topical Bible, Issachar. Etymology and meaning. The name Issachar is traditionally understood to mean there is recompense, or man of hire. This interpretation is derived from the Hebrew roots nasa, to lift, carry, or bear, and sakar, wages or reward. The name reflects the circumstances of his birth as recorded in Genesis. Biblical narrative. Issachar was the 9th son of Jacob and the 5th son of Leah. His birth is recounted in Genesis chapter 30, verses 17 through 18. And Yahweh Elohim listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore a 5th son to Jacob. Then Leah said, Yahweh Elohim has rewarded me for giving my maidservant to my husband. So she named him Issachar. Leah's statement highlights her belief that Issachar's birth was a divine reward for her actions. Clan or family of Issachar. Issachar became the progenitor of one of the 12 families of Israel, Yahashariah. The tribe of Issachar, family, clan, played a significant role in the history of Yahashariah, particularly during the period of the Judges and the United Monarchy. In the wilderness, the clan was Zebulun, as described in Numbers chapter 2, verse 5. This strategic placement underscores their importance within the Israelite community. All right, that's one of the 2 extra names then. Zebulun's name was changed to Issachar. Territory. The territory allotted to the clan of Issachar is detailed in Joshua chapter 19, verses 17 through 23. It was located in the fertile region of the Jezreel Valley, an area known for its agricultural productivity. This land allocation fulfilled Jacob's blessing over Issachar, where he is described as a strong donkey laying down between the sheepfolds. Genesis chapter 49, verse 14, suggesting a life of labor and prosperity. So, the suggestion of the mule also means there was agriculture going, and then it said the mule would lay down between the sheepfolds. So, two brothers on either side who would be shepherds, while Issachar's in the middle, plowing the land and toting things back and forth. We've made it to the location, so I'm going to be scanning the wood line, looking for something. Role characteristics. Clan of Issachar is noted for the wisdom and understanding of the times. In 1 Chronicles chapter 12, 32, verse 32, the men of Issachar are described as men who understood the times and knew what Yahashrael should do. This insight and discernment were crucial during the reign of King David, as they provided guidance and support in unifying the nation. Well, here we go. Finally, somebody that was talking some sense instead of jumping up every 5 minutes trying to fight. Awesome. Or saying that they were not going to fight. Awesome. Prophetic blessings. Jacob's blessing over Issachar in Genesis chapter 49, verses 14 through 15, portrays him as a strong and industrious figure, willing to bear burdens for the sake of rest and prosperity. Moses' blessing in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verses 18 through 19, further emphasizes Issachar's role in the community, highlighting their participation in religious festivals and their enjoyment of the abundance of the sea and treasures hidden in the sand. Okay. So it sounds like they were also travelers, but they went fishing and they also hunted around in the sands. There's a lot of territory in the Sahara, and then also going towards Persia. There's a lot of territory you could cover. Find a lot of things that were dropped and things that were secured and placed and forgotten, and so forth. I apologize. Like I said, I'm hunting for something that got misplaced. Historical significance. Throughout Yahashrael's history, the clan of Issachar maintained a reputation of wisdom and strategic insight. Their contributions to the nation's leadership and their agricultural prowess were significant in shaping the socio-economic landscape of ancient Yahashrael. So, Zebulon, Issachar held up their end and did things to make sure that the nation was prosperous That's what we're looking for. Who will believe your report? Or can you say that there's a report? Legacy. The legacy of Issachar endures in the biblical narrative as a symbol of reward, labor, and discernment. The clan's ability to understand the times and act accordingly serves as an enduring example of wisdom and faithfulness in the service of Yahweh Elohim's people. We hear Tabar things from Issachar. So, we made it to the top of the hour. Did not find what I was looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Got a pretty decent idea of where it actually is. Sometimes you have to check things. Let's see here. Screen decided it wanted to flip, so you all can take a look at what I see. We'll settle in right there. I'm gonna pull up. You can see what I see. So I'm gonna pull up the testaments. Here we go. This is Asher. We're gonna move over to Issachar, Zebulun. See, it's telling me that there's two. Somebody need to make up their mind. Here we go, section 1. The record of the words of Issachar. He called his sons and said to them, Hearken, my children, to Issachar your father. Give ear to my words, you who are beloved of Adon. I was the 5th son born to Jacob, even the higher of the mandrakes. For Reuben brought in mandrakes from the field, and Rachel met him and took them. And Reuben wept, and at his voice Leah my mother came forth. Now these mandrakes are sweet-smelling apples, with the land of Aram producing on high ground below a ravine of water. And Rachel said, I will not give them to you, for they shall be to me instead of children. Now there are 2 apples. And Leah said, Let it suffice you that you have taken the husband of my virginity. Will you also take these? And she said, Behold, let Jacob be to you this night instead of the mandrakes of my son. And Leah said to her, Boast not and vaunt not yourself, for Jacob is mine, and I am the wife of his youth. But Rachel said, How so? For to me was he first espoused, and for my sake he served our father 14 years. What shall I do to you? Because the craft and the subtlety of men are increased, and craft prospers upon the earth. And were it not so, you would not now see the face of Jacob, for you are not his wife, but in craft were taken to him in my stead. And my father deceived me and removed me on that night, and suffered me not to see him. For I had been there, it had not happened this. For had I been there, it would not have happened this way. And Rachel said, take one mandrake, and for the other you shall hire him for me one night. And Jacob knew Leah, and she conceived and bare me. And on account of the hire I was called Issachar. Then appeared to Jacob an angel of Adon, saying, 2 children shall Rachel bear, for she has refused company with her husband, and has chosen continency. And has not Leah my mother given up the 2 apples for the sake of his company? She would have borne 8 sons, and for this thing she bare 6, and Rachel 2. Because on account of the mandrakes Adon visited her. For he knew that for the sake of children she wished to company with Jacob, and not for lust or of pleasure. For she went further, and on the morrow too gave up Jacob, that she might receive also the other mandrake. Therefore the Lord hearkened to Rachel because of the mandrakes. For though she desired them, she ate them not, but brought them to the priest of the Most High, who was at the time, and brought them to the priest of the Most High, who was at that time, and offered them up in the house of Adon. When, therefore, I grew up, my children, I walked in uprightness of heart, and I became a husbandman for my parents and my brethren. And I brought in fruits from the field according to their season, and my father blessed me, for he saw that I walked in simplicity, and I was not a busybody in my doings, nor malicious and slanderous against my neighbor. I never spoke against anyone, nor did I censure the life of any man, but walked in the simplicity of my eyes. Therefore, when I was 30 years old, I took to myself a wife, and for my labor wore away my strength. And I never thought upon pleasure with women, but through my labor my sleep sufficed me, and my father always rejoiced in my simplicity. For on whatever I labored, I offered first to the Lord by the hands of the priest, of all my produce and all first fruits, then to my father, and then took for myself. And the Lord increased 2-fold his benefits in my hands. And Jacob also knew that Yahweh Elohim aided my simplicity. For on every poor man and everyone in distress, I bestowed the tabah things of the earth and simplicity of heart. So we just went through section 2 and section 3. In section 2, it was talking about an exchange between Rachel and Leah. There was trickery amongst the two, and one of them was trying to be upright. So she was given the blessings of 2 children for following the correct standards. And that was a disagreement between 2 sisters. And then in the 3rd verse, we find that Issachar as a person, as it says, followed simplicity, did not need a lot of complex things, and still was strong. Gave everything first to Yahweh Elohim, and then to his father, Jacob, and then would take for himself, always looking for others. Section 4. And now hearken to me, my children, and walk in simplicity of heart, for I have seen in it all that is well-pleasing to Adon. The simple covets not gold, defrauds not his neighbor, longs not after manifold dainties, delights not in varied apparel, does not picture to himself to live a long life, but only waits for the will of Yahweh Elohim. And the spirits of ever have no power against him. For he cannot allow within his mind a thought of female beauty, that he should not pollute his mind in corruption. No envy can enter into his thoughts, no jealousy melts away his soul, nor does he brood over gain with insatiate desire. For he walks in uprightness of life and beholds all things in simplicity, not admitting in his eyes malice from the error of the world, lest he should see the perversion of any of the commandments of Adon. Section 5. Keep therefore the law of Yahweh Elohim, my children, and get simplicity, and walk in guilelessness, not prying over curiosity into the commands of Yahweh Elohim and the business of your neighbor, but love Adon and your neighbor. Have compassion on the poor and weak. Bow down your back unto husbandry, and labor and tillage of the ground in all manner of husbandry. Offer gifts to Adon with thanksgiving. For the first fruits of the earth did Adon bless me, even as he blessed all the saints from Abel, even until now. Abel. For no other portion is given to you than of the fatness of the earth, whose fruits are raised by toil. For our father Jacob blessed me with the blessings of the earth and of first fruits. And Levi and Judah were glorified by Adon among the sons of Jacob. For Adon made choice of them, and to the one he gave the priesthood, to the other the kingdom. Them therefore obey, and walk in the simplicity of your father. For unto Gad hath it been given to destroy the temptations that are coming upon Yahasharael. Side note, we haven't studied Gad yet. Gad is coming up. Interested to know what's going on there. Section 6. I know, my children, that in the last times your sons will forsake simplicity, and will cleave unto avarice, and leaving guilelessness will draw near to malice, and forsaking the commandments of Adon will cleave to Beliar, and leaving husbandry will follow after their wicked devices, and shall be dispersed among the Gentiles, and shall serve their enemies. And do you therefore command these things to your children, that if they sin, they may the more quickly return to Adon. For he is merciful, and will deliver them, even to bring them back into their land. Section 7. I am 122 years old, and I know not against myself a sin to death. Except my wife, I have not known any woman. I never committed fornication in the haughtiness of my eyes. I drank not wine to be led astray thereby. I coveted not any desirable thing that was my neighbor's. Guile never entered in my heart. A lie never passed through my lips. If any man grieved, I wept with him, and I shared my bread with the poor. I never ate alone. I moved no landmark. In all my days, I wrought righteousness, and truth. I loved Adon with all my strength. Likewise also did I love every man even as my own children. So you also do these things, my children. And every spirit of Beliar shall flee from you, and no deed of malicious men shall rule over you. And every wild beast shall ye subdue, having with yourselves Yahweh Elohim of heaven, walking with men in simplicity of heart. And he commanded them that they should carry him up to Hebron, and bury him there in the cave with his fathers. And he stretched out his feet and died, the fifth son of Jacob, in a Tabah, holy old age, and with every limb sound, and with strength unabated, he slept the eternal sleep. Allah Yahweh, subhanahu wa ta'ala, amin. I want to thank everyone for spending this time. Now, this is saying we've only been hanging out for about an hour. I kind of want to do some moving around. And if you hadn't figured it out, without my speaker. It was confiscated a couple of nights ago. Not something I'm going to go into on live. Strange things have been happening with signals. Couldn't get my sound to get quiet. Still moving around in Nottingham. Party in Sherwood Forest. Find me 3PROJH. Find me on Discord. 3PROJH. Yahweh Ahaba. Our Father is love. Ahaba Ahaba. Love is love. If you see someone in need, go help them. Whatever talent that you have that can help them in that situation, go help them. If you can't help them, go find someone who can help them. Bring them back immediately. Now that's really being humble, because you are immediately reporting and you're being focused on being of service in the kingdom of Yahweh Elohim. That's what it takes to prove that Yahweh Elohim is real and the standards are real, because there are enough people like you and I who think that way. I want to thank you for spending this time, staying all the way through, or whatever time you came in, whatever time you spent. Thank you. Tada. Shukran. Gracias. Grazie. Asante. Spasibo. Thank you. This story about Issachar, I respect this story. To be humble. Most people think this is humble, where you're always out doing righteous deeds and you don't say much. Well, in order to have humility, you have to be focused. And Issachar was always focused on doing the standards. Focus. Humility. Anava. So if you have empathy enough to see something that's going on with someone else, have the compassion to be humble. Focus and immediately do something about it. You see someone going through a door, open the door for them. You see someone that's about to cross your path, stop and allow them to go ahead of you. Amitabha, Amitofo. Those are the ways you would say compassion in both Chinese or Japanese. Hashtag kindness is contagious. Usually we would get together 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got some moving around to do. Might do a 1, 2, 3 price check. I don't know yet. Well, yeah, once again, thank you all for spending time. Our numbers are increasing, audience and view counts. Thank you to all of you. That's you. Salute. Many much love and respect. Till next time. Adon willing, tomorrow.